And the last area is, and again, I talk with a lot of clients, and I've actually had a lot of clients. We've done and sold several businesses together. So, you know, they'll start with a business, it'll be run down, they'll fix it up at a property level, we'll rebrand it, we'll do the whole marketing platform for them, we'll get their numbers working well for them, and they'll go on to sell the business. Because again, they're quite structured in their approach, and anybody really does buy a business to eventually sell the business. Yes, you can make some good money along the way. So it's then comes back to your vision. What is your vision? How long are you going to, what is your plan? So what is the plan for your business? And I heard a really fascinating chat with Dan Sullivan, who's from television days in the States. He is a business coach. He coaches very high-level people. He works, and it was a talk done at a group called the Genius Network. They have to pay $25,000 to attend these courses, and they thought it was so good that they wanted to share it out to a larger audience, which I'm grateful they did, because he had some really interesting information to talk about. And I've just, without having to listen to a whole 1 hour chat with Dan Sullivan, which is well worth doing, I thought I'd just kind of condense it into what's relevant for us in the hotel world. And the key aspect of it was, and he said it's actually easier to 10 times the results you're achieving than it is to just double the results you're achieving. And it's like, wow, that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even compute in my brain. And then when he explained the model, it actually makes a lot of sense, because when we try and double our efforts, if we're trying to double the results that we're trying to achieve, what we'll do is look at what we've done in the past. So we will draw back on, it's on that side, we'll draw back on our past to go, okay, well, what have we done that we could do a little bit better? We can maybe cut some savings there, and we can, yes, I think we maybe be able to, double our results. So you're very much left with going back into your past to try and improve on what you've done. Whereas if I ask you, how can you do 10 times better? There's no way that you can draw on your past experiences. It's just, you're not going to find the answer with what you've done in your past to 10 times in your results in the future. So what it forces us to do, and I love the science behind how us as a body works, because when we go into the past, we're very much drawing on our more primal instincts, our survival mechanism, which is our limbic brain. It's that mid-brain that is really our survival mechanism that keeps us, it's always looking out for danger and warnings. And when we're coming from our limbic brain, it's a limited resource. It's really about a need to survive. It's not accessing any real creative aspects. It's very much just plain survival. Whereas when we start to put ourselves into in our prefrontal cortex, which is the front part of our brain, how do we get there? It's allowing ourselves to open up to new possibilities, and it's in the scientists have measured people's brains and gone through the different states, and it's the front parts of our brain that really light up when we're having those creative ideas. And you probably find you don't have those creative ideas sitting at your desk. You probably get those really great ideas when you're out having a walk in the morning, or you're getting your morning coffee, or you're doing something where not related to what you're not consciously focused on it, you're just doing something that's more enjoyable. That's when you get these ideas, these inspirations pop into your head. That's when you're accessing your prefrontal cortex. These are where you get your ideas to 10 times your business. So the whole, it's more of a mindset that he was talking about. So if you can put yourself or ask yourself that question, it's a powerful question. How can I 10 times the results I'm achieving, as opposed to just double the results I'm achieving? Because if you're just doubling, you're drawing on that past experience. There's no need to access the real creative aspects of your brain. So it's really asking that question is what's going to allow you to go further into it. How does this relate to hotels? Again, through discussions with a lot of our clients, I've gone through 7 key areas of the hotel industry, And I mean, I could do a talk on each one of these areas if you want to. I won't today. And it starts with the owners. At the end of the day, we really want to improve our owners' happiness by 10 times. How could we do that? How can we increase the happiness of our owners 10 times? It's looking at these things, and I've got another version of this, which actually starts to go through a whole systematic approach to, well, have we done this? Have we done that? Can we do that? Can we do this? So again, if we can improve the profit, our owners are definitely going to be happier, and we're going to not have, we're going to have a much better day ourselves, which brings us into how do we increase the manager's profit? Because if we can increase the owner's profit, well, then we've increased the manager's profit as well. Plus, we don't have the headache of the owners unnecessarily saying, well, what's happening and why is it going down? And so there's in terms of, for our managers, it's not just increasing your happiness, it's really about what other profit streams are there. And I see a lot of these things done in a lot of our hotels. There's probably at least 10 other profit streams that you could introduce into your business. And I know a lot of you have probably already got those. And it's like the McDonald's formula. You never just buy a burger. It's, would you like fries and a shake with that? So it's, you've got customers staying in your properties already. What else can we be of service to them to help them have a better stay? And it's being able to provide more products and services, not just to make money, but to actually make their lives a bit better. And there's lots of different things that we can do, because I see it in a lot of the hotels that we work with. I see how much these extra things they offer and how well they work. The third aspect is really looking at the numbers. I love numbers from my engineering background, and it's looking at, some of our clients do this very carefully and meticulously. They are forecasting when are the highs, when are the lows. They're looking at the occupancy. They're releasing inventory at set times. They're really watching their numbers as a set key of metrics, and they can pull different levers at different times of the year so that they are on top of that. So it's, again, just making sure that we've got all of those processes in place, because we don't want to miss any opportunities. There's lots of opportunities, whether you're on the GDS network and different OTA channels, or because you get good market exposure through the OTA channels. But again, it's about managing those so that you're not losing bookings to them. You want to, there's a healthy amount of bookings you do want to put through the OTAs, but again, you really want to drive that billboard effect so that they are coming back into your side. So there's lots of strategies that we can put in place in terms of improving the numbers and 10 timesing the opportunities for growing the business. At an in-house level, this is really comes back to your culture, the culture within the organisation. And I was recently in one of our properties, and I could sense there was a bit of conflict between some of the people working there, and that energetically rubs off on the guests. And I mean, I walked into the building and I picked up on that just within 5 minutes, and that wasn't even a busy period. You don't want that to be happening. Because that energy rubs off on clients, and it's like, oh, I don't know if I'll stay there again. And so it's really important to have a really good connected culture in the business where everybody's on the same page, and especially engaged in helping build your database. Which is really building the connections with the guests. We have several hotels that have got special procedures in place to make sure that they are getting people's email addresses, and there's lots of different stages that we can put in place to help you with that. The third aspect, which is fairly recent, of the last 2 years, is definitely having a book direct strategy. So that is a clear direction. I mean, the big hotel chains have been pushing hard the last 2 years. They've got very strong policies. They spend a lot of money on advertising. So having a clear book direct strategy is super important. And I'd have to say, a majority of small boutique hotels I see, they don't have anything in place. You can't. There's still a complete misconception that I'm going to get a better offer when I ring you direct, or if I book on your website direct. That's just what I see as a web developer. The second area is really extending or expanding on that digital connection. So this can come into play in terms of, are you using your email database? Are you sending out regular emails, connecting with your past guests? Are you using other digital media? You know, AdWords, very successful for a lot of our clients, in conjunction with Facebook ads, or even just having a good social media strategy in place, having those things where you are connecting with people digitally. You know, who are you? What do you do? What are you offering? And the key thing to remember with social media too, there's a book which I've been reading. It's called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And it's all about social media. And I listened to an interview about it, and I said, why do you call it that? And he said, well, it's the thesis of the book is really about give, ask. And too many people on social media are just going in there, they're diving in there and going ask, 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 ask. And there's been no giving along the way. So, and that just puts people off and they disengage. So it's again, some important questions to look at there. Well, what could we do in terms of our strategy? Or what could we give out to people that is going to be, you know, interesting and beneficial? I share one of the stories. I was looking through some stats, and one of our clients in Brisbane, I was looking through their blog articles because I was like, this page gets an awful lot of visitors. And I thought, wow, I have to go and look what that page was all about. And sure enough, it was a chocolate tour of the city. It's the most viewed blog article on their entire website for the entire year. And I went, wow, you know, who would have thought that chocolate was such a big deal? And they didn't think that. They just put this out as a bit of like, oh, well, I don't know what else to say, but let's talk about chocolate. And so it's interesting, when you do connect digitally with people, you can start to monitor where are people's interests. And I think that even went virally and started to get shared on other tourism websites. And so you just don't know which post you put out there or which bit of information is going to connect with other people. So it really is to keep that digital connection real and authentic. And the nice thing about it is we can get lots of statistics back from social media. And the last but not least is websites. Clearly, having a good website helps because the thing that we see, if you're going to book on booking.com or you're going to book direct, now if your website looks worse than booking.com, I think it's just easier just to book on booking.com. Whereas the benefit you have with your own website is you can make it look so much better, especially when you start to include big images and video and actual guest testimonials. You can show pricing, you can do unique specials, you can explain to them that when you book direct you get free parking and free breakfast and free Wi-Fi, and you can really start to engage a lot more with your audience when they jump on your website. Whereas on the OTA websites, it's just a level playing field. Everybody looks the same, whether you're 5-star, 3-star, 4-star, everybody just looks the same. So that's a huge advantage. And that also lends itself a little bit into the digital side, because guess what? Booking.com spend a minimum of $300 on every single hotel. They bid money on every single hotel, about $300 a day. And they don't have the time to get involved in social media for every single hotel. So it's one thing that the OTAs are not really connecting with. They can't do individualized content at a social media level, and yet that's where people's attention is at. So that's something that we can definitely make a big dent in if we start to embrace it more, because that is an area that they can't touch. And you can share genuine, authentic, real stories about what's happening in your hotel that people will connect with. And then, again, it's social media is not something where you get instant sales from, like AdWords. It's more about building your brand, telling your story, and connecting with people long term. And you will reap the results longer term, which is what we're seeing with some of our clients that we've put Instagram feeds on their websites, and they've gone from getting 10 likes to up in the hundreds of likes now. They've got photos coming in. So they are growing their following, and people love it when they can take a photo and it ends up on a nice website. They go, wow, that's my photo. And then guess what? They go and tell all their friends about it. Oh, go and have a look, my photo's on the front page. And then it spreads. So there's lots of opportunities. There's a lot of hope there. for us as independent hoteliers. It's not all lost.